The opinions expressed are those of the program host and guest and are not those of WSTU. WSTU does not endorse products that may be mentioned. Any reproduction or retransmission of this broadcast is strictly prohibited without written consent of WSTU. The phone lines are open. Call in with your questions and comments at 220-9788. That's 220-WSTU. It's time for Stuart Laser Talk with your host, Dr. Tred J. Rizacker.
I'm 5'10" and 242 pounds.
I always say this is the biggest I'm ever going to be, and I said that like 20 pounds ago.
A third of Americans are obese, another third is overweight.
Obesity is the biggest threat to the health, welfare, and future of this country.
I've always been overweight.
I've got diabetes.
Sleep apnea.
Heart disease.
Everything's hurting now.
It's a lot easier to lose weight than it is to keep weight off.
This is probably going to be the first generation of children who are going to have a shorter life expectancy than their parents.
18% of our children right now are obese.
It's not only health, it's about survival and well-being of the United States as a nation.
You don't crave broccoli, and our generation has grown up craving a Big Mac.
I want to think that there's something better for me.
Unless we're able to control this epidemic, we're going to have an abundance of chronic disease.
All of us have to be part of the solution to reduce obesity.
The weight of the nation is out of control, but we can fix that.
If we don't now take this as a really urgent national priority, we are all going to pay a really serious price.
Obesity will crush the United States in oblivion.
Good morning. My name is Dr. Tred Rizacker, and I am a licensed doctor of chiropractic, and I want to welcome you to another show on my Slim Body Laser Spa health and wellness show with an emphasis on how today's medical lasers are being used to help you to look better, to feel better, to get better quicker, to have less pain, to have better results when you're sick or have problems. These lasers are absolutely light technology, which is, nothing is, everything is compared to the speed of light, right? And correct?
Sure.
And do you know the speed of light, Mike?
Oh, it is. It's fast.
It's 179,000 miles per second or something.
It's a lot.
Yeah. So the speed of light now is being used for healing tissue, for reducing inflammation, for reducing pain, for biostimulating tissues and cells to repair themselves. Biostimulatory. That's a huge term to be able to stimulate life in a positive way to move forward instead of a deteriorative way, instead of a poisoning way. And we go over that on today's show. I can be heard right here, and you're listening to WSTU 1450 AM. And this is Treasure Coast's Heritage Station. That's how many times I listen to it. It's drilled into me to say that. And every single Tuesday from 9 to 10 o'clock, I can be heard right here. And yes, we did have to give up the Friday show to another host, but that's okay. We're still here every single Tuesday. So don't expect me on Friday anymore. I might be fishing or something. Probably working on clients more realistically on Fridays. My weight loss center and whole body rejuvenation center is located in Stuart, and I have been providing a safe, sane alternative to surgical liposuction procedures for over 7 years now. And we have a saying at the Slim Body Laser Spa that anyone who still considers surgical liposuction as their first option when trying to slim down or to change their body posture or to get rid of a muffin top, they are really stuck in the year 2004. Because come on, times are changing.
Mm-hmm.
Things are better. You don't have to use, we're not smoking Raleigh cigarettes anymore, are we?
No.
If there's anyone listening to the radio program that's over 60 years old, you know about Raleigh cigarettes, okay? They used to have these little coupons that came in the pack, and you could save those coupons, and then you get this little book, and you could pick out jackets and coolers and things that are emblazoned with the Raleigh cigarette brand on it. That sounds almost bizarre today. But, what seems so bizarre to us today, 30 years ago, when they looked at where we are today as far as our weight gain goes, they would think it's an absolute epidemic. I mean, it would be shocking. If you were born in the 60s, or and at 25 years old you were put to sleep and then were to wake up again in 2019 with that 30 years, you would be shocked at how large everybody is. I mean, we're talking, there has been probably a 30% gain in size, in just pure overall average weight in most of, definitely all the industrialized nations. But, America is right at the top of the heap here as far as that goes. 20 years ago, only 20 years ago, they did these studies, statistics from the CDC, and they found out that about 3% of our population was actually obese. That's only 3%. And out of that 3%, 30% were considered overweight. And that was back in the early 1990s. It was a very low number. And in 20 years, right up to 2000, and then now into 25 years later, obesity is now 30% of adults are obese, 30% versus 3% only 25 years ago. And the amount of overweight, which used to be at 30% in America back in the 1988, 89, now in 2018, overweight is over 75% of adults in America. Men and women are affected equally. Actually, women are affected more so with the weight gain. So it's common, but it's not okay. It's serious, and it is very, very costly, not only to you, the person who's suffering with obesity, but also to the people on the insurance plans and all the services that have to be provided. Because, we know that over time, this weight is going to cause you to have sickness and health problems. I mean, it's pretty well documented. Nobody is denying that anymore. And I do want to say that it isn't just being overweight that causes health problems. It's all the other symptoms and habits that come with it. The sedentary lifestyle, the eating of foods which are not nutritious, eating mainly refined carbohydrates, called the SAD diet, the standard American diet. You ever heard that term?
No, I have not.
Captain America sitting at the chair with his bag of chips and his beers, and he's watching the sports.
Yeah.
And he's cheering on his team from the armchair.
Chicken
That's
wings,
the
pizza,
standard
hot dogs.
American diet. It's sad. And they had a great little cartoon. It was in one of the newspapers, and it showed a zoo scene with a cage front, and the people that were observing, the visitors were looking at the monkeys in there, and there was a big ape in the chair, in like the armchair, and all the other apes were around him, and he had some something to drink, and he had the channel switcher in that chair. And the woman from the visiting at the zoo says, that must be the male species of the monkey sitting in that chair, flipping that. It was just cute, because you see that with people. But let's face it, we can make light of it and kind of joke about it, but this is a serious, serious problem, and it's going to bankrupt America if we don't do something about it. Maybe 10 years ago, 15 years ago, I decided that I needed to start losing some weight, and I needed to be healthier myself, that I had been accumulated extra belly fat over the years. I never was a big overeater, but I guess as you get older, your hormones change, your body changes, the way you deposit fat changes as you get older. And the same ease of losing inches, and losing weight and slimming down with just a little bit of discipline and eating less and maybe walking more was not happening for me in my late 40s. I mean, I was in 46, 47, 48 years old. And I am like, my God, the normal activities that I would do to lose that belly fat was not happening for me the same as it was. And I'm pretty disciplined with that. So I knew there was another factor. There was something else going on besides that I was just eating and not exercising enough. And that's when I went on this journey to try to understand why it is why we're so big, why we're eating and have so much toxin in our body and the fat to protect us. So it didn't really make sense to me as a professional provider, as a healthcare provider. I deal with some very, very successful people, as we all do. The world is not full of idiots. It's full of very caring, kind, a lot of people that are very conscious about what they eat and being healthy. And they wouldn't make decisions willingly that were really absolutely foolish for the most part. I mean, there's, I don't know, 10, 20% that will always do that. But for the most of it, we make good decisions. So it used to baffle me when my patients would come in knowing that they were overweight to a point where it's affecting their blood sugar, it's affecting their blood pressure, that it's affecting their knees and their joint pains. They're having pains in their legs, their feet, their heels. And knowing the cause is the weight, but not really addressing what it takes to get rid of it, to me, flew an antithesis to what it would be to be healthy. And I know these clients are my patients, my friends. I've known some of them for 20, 30 years. And I know that in every other area of their life, they make really good decisions when it comes to business and schooling and spirituality. But when it comes to food, whoa, what's happening? Why are we doing this? Why are we choosing this? And that's when I got on a journey, because I know it's not slothfulness. I know one of the 10 venial sins of mortals. What is it? Is slothfulness, right? Isn't that right?
Something like that.
Yeah, sloth. That means you're just slothful. I don't even know how to describe slothful. Doesn't sound good though. And I know that that's just not true. I know there had to be another hidden factor besides, just overeating. So I went on a study and started reading as much literature as I could about weight and weight gain and why we eat food and what is the purpose of, besides celebrating birthdays at Benihana's and celebrating things and eating when we're alone and eating to wake up and all these other things. What is the real purpose of food? Well, how can food, something we have to eat every single day, it sustains our life. It gives us nutrition. It helps. We use it to clean our body out. It can eliminate toxins. It builds tissue. It's how we build muscle and bone. It comes from our food. Why is it turned into such a, disastrous case of unhealthy, unnutritious, nutritionally void food? How has it come to that point? Am I the only one that wonders about this? Its food is so simple. There's only 3 main food groups. It's pretty darn simple. There's protein, there's fat, and there's carbohydrate. Those are the three groups. And protein is what you need to build muscle. Your body needs a certain amount of protein. Above and beyond everything else, you have to eat protein. Your body can manufacture glucose from other food sources. So you do not need carbohydrates. Carbohydrates are not tissue building. They're not essential nutrients. Carbohydrates are very important for digestion and bringing nutrients into your body and the food and the colors and the bioflavonoids and the phytonutrients, these carbohydrates. But really, we can manufacture sugar from fat. We can manufacture sugar from oils and from protein. So we don't even really need to eat so much carbohydrate. And the carbohydrate is a food source which is very similar to sugar. So the carbohydrate molecule, when you eat food, carbohydrate, and you chew it up and you break up the bonds, you're breaking it from a macronutrient down to a micronutrient. Carbohydrate is something which releases sugar very quickly, glucose, and the body will use some of the glucose for instantaneous thinking and for your brain and for energy, but it can't really use it for long-term energy usage. So what happens when you have a high carbohydrate meal, refined carbohydrates, most of those carbohydrates, most of those calories are stored as fat. It's very different when you have a meal that's high in protein, high in good fats, with very low carb. So that might be a meal that's 30 to 40% protein of the 100%, almost 50% protein. Another 20 to 30% can be good fats, such as olive oil, avocado, coconut oils, these good, healthy, natural oils that occur. And then maybe 10 to 20% can be a carbohydrate or a vegetable or something with that. That type of diet choice is going to give you the best tools you can to build tissue, to build strength, to build musculature back into your body. Hey, let's face it. Once you're 50 years old, any person will lose 1% of their body muscle mass every single year after they're 50. That's the statistic that they taught us in college, was that when you're 50 years old, if you're not exercising more, if you're not being mindful of this, if you're not doing something to offset this, every year after 50, you lose 1% of your muscle mass. So if you're 50 and now you're 60 years old and you haven't been exercising, you've lost 10% of your muscle tonicity. And unfortunately, when you lose that muscle tone, you don't lose weight, you actually gain fat. It's replaced by fat. There's a replacement going on. It's not good. So maybe you've always maintained a 15, 20% body fat, which is super good and super healthy, 80% lean muscle, and you move into your 40s or 50s. And what happens is now you're 60 and you go to the Slim Body Laser Spa because your wife's bugging you. And we put you on the BMI machine, the bioimpedance analysis machine, which measures your body fat and your BMR. And we find out that you're obese, 35% obese. And you really haven't gained any weight since you were in your 40s or 50s. How could that be? That's because once you turn 50, your muscles start to wear, they decrease. The muscle size decreases and it's replaced by fat. It isn't that you lose weight, it's replaced by fat. So now this ratio, this super important fat to muscle ratio that we need to maintain, which should be 20% fat, 80% lean muscle. Once that starts to become 30% fat, 70% lean muscle, or even higher, it can be 40% fat and only 60% muscle. What happens is fat becomes very, very dangerous. It becomes inflammatory. It's like an anchor. It just holds you down. And the body and the systems for the first year or two are okay with extra fat. But once you get on to 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, 10 years of carrying even 10 or 15 extra pounds around, can become a health problem. Now, when you combine that with no exercise, with sedentary lifestyle, which is somebody who doesn't like to exercise or chooses not to exercise regularly, that extra weight gain over time can lead to serious metabolic syndromes. Now, a metabolic syndrome is where your body can no longer maintain its burn rate. The burn rate for the calories goes so low that you can't anything over, I see people come into my office with daily caloric intakes of under 1,000 calories on the machine. And that's all they can eat to maintain their weight. Their current status is 1,000 calories. How do you lose weight if you can only eat 1,000 calories a day? I mean, that's tough. You need to build muscle back. That's not going to work. You can't have such a low metabolism and expect to be healthy and function. So the only way to change that is to build muscle strength. And when you become more toned, you have more muscle strength, then your BMR goes up and you can eat more calories safely. So it's a very precarious, tenacious position when somebody comes in and they've ignored exercise and they've been overeating and they haven't gotten off that extra weight. Now, typically these clients, these people like you and me and our friends, the first thing that will start happening is they start to have low blood sugar issues. They start to have hyperglycemia. They start to feel only better when they eat. They need to eat to feel better. That's a pretty common sign of a metabolic syndrome. I had breakfast. I felt At first I wasn't that hungry when I got up. You hear that a lot. Why would you not be hungry when you got up unless you weren't exercising? If you knew you were going to be running and doing things, you're going to make sure you eat before you go out of the house. But if your day involves sitting around watching TV, watching Oprah and all the reruns, then to want to eat is not going to be a really good idea because you're just not burning energy. So the body, it's not hungry. And that sets up the first part of falling off with weight is skipping breakfast. It's so essential. And it's amazing how many people will go and skip breakfast thinking that that's okay. They're just not hungry. Well, again, if you were getting up in the morning and you were going to the gym and you were going to run and exercise or be active in your job, maybe your job was out of a woodcutter or something, someone that works outside, and you need to eat before you get up. So here's a good cure for you. If you're having problems eating in the morning, maybe it's because you're not active enough in the morning. And if you're more active, then you're going to be wanting to eat more and in a good way. So, when weight starts to gain and it starts to make us sick and it starts to make us not feel well, again, some of the symptoms come up are really, people blow it off as just normal stress. It's just a stressful environment I'm in. That's why I feel this way. Or, it's something that it's common. I must be having a hormonal change. That's another big one. People blame their hormones all the time instead of just backing off on eating. They like to blame the hormones. They like to blame the fact that they have a knee injury. And ever since the knee injury, they gain the weight. They blame it on the wife. A lot of people get married and then they blame their spouse on the fact that she's such a good cook that here I am all fat. You hear that one quite a bit. Let me tell you my phone number. I just had a little text. My staff said, "Great show, Doc. You haven't said your phone number." And I'm sorry. It's 772-223-5885. We're located on East Ocean Boulevard, right across from the Fresh Market on East Ocean. It's next to the Carmela's Pizza, and it's called the Slim Body Laser Spa. And what I'm doing there is I'm using a low-level laser, which is an FDA-cleared device, as safe and ethical to use, which actually releases stubborn fat naturally in a series of 9 sessions in 3 weeks. So this FDA-cleared laser device is an aesthetic laser. It's designed for spot fat reduction and laser body sculpting. It reduces subcutaneous fat content in a series of treatments. Now, that is a super beneficial thing if you're dealing with extra subcutaneous fat. If you have a buildup of extra fat around your midsection, like a spare tire, and you hide it under your shirt, this is what this laser is designed for. It works phenomenal. I've been doing it now for 8 years. I've had over 5,000 people been through the process. I've had many laser companies and other professionals come to my office, do their pitch about their procedure, their product, whether it's the cool sculpting or the hot laser. There's so many different machines out there. I have never found anything that has been comparable to the low-level, non-invasive lipo laser that we use at the Slim Body Laser Spa. And I've bought the machines, I've used them, and they don't have the same. They can't reproduce the results consistently. There's always that problem where they could hurt somebody, they can burn, or there was pain issues with it. There was issues with, they weren't as good. They're not as clean as what we're doing. The Slim Body Laser Spa, this low-level, non-invasive Lapex BCS lipo laser, which is our brand, is a clean, safe, predictable. It's just like a good friend. It's like a good golden retriever. They're just friendly. You just can't go wrong with them. They're not going to bite anybody. The character is known, it's quite amazing. And I really feel that way about the lipo laser, this procedure that we're using in the office. I've been through it long enough. I've had it long enough to feel very, very comfortable and confident with its predictability. And I can't say enough about that. There's no releases that have to be signed where you're giving up if you were to have a problem in the office, like you do when you do surgery, it's just so darn safe.
Oh, and it is nice to not have to worry about that nonsense and go over all of the side effects. And you're like, wait, that there's a chance that could happen. You don't have to worry about that.
No. And I'll tell you, because I've been doing it for 7-8 years, I have I understand that it's completely safe, but it still amazes me when people come in. Yesterday, I had a new client come in. They did sign up, and the wife, she came in with all of her information. She had several things she had printed out of the internet. They really believed it. They loved the website. They loved the procedure, what we're going to do. But she had a lot of concerns about laser safety. And she had some studies that were shown where lasers are, can have issues with people. They can cause burns and these other things. So when we looked at it, I pointed out, I said, all lasers aren't the same. Some lasers are very powerful, and they're used for that reason. They have a lot of power behind them, and they can blast, Star Wars kind of things. They can cut metal, from a distance, cut in metal. So, that is not what we're using, people. Okay. Now, and a lot of the medical lasers are considered ablative lasers. Now, ablation means, and I'm sure some of you know what it means. Ablation means to destroy, to disconnect, to melt, to ablate. So 90% of all of your medical lasers that you're familiar with are ablative lasers. They're class 4 devices. Now, I own a class 4 laser, but I don't use it on the fat. We use that on pain, inflammation, and tissue healing at Laser Heal in Jensen Beach. At the other office, we use the pain laser. The fat laser, which is a very friendly nickname we call it, the lipo laser, is a non-invasive, very, very low power laser. Okay. And for that reason, the FDA calls it cold laser technology. Now, this is not the same thing as the fat freezing. Okay. Because fat freezing, it's kind of like, suppose you had a fat foot, right? Suppose you had a fat foot.
Okay.
And you were very concerned about this. So you went out into the snow and you stuck your foot in the snow for 30 or 50 minutes. And at the same time, you put a sock on so it wouldn't burn your skin.
Okay.
Right? Because you ever had frostbite?
Luckily, I have not.
Have you know what it is though, right?
It burns, yes.
Heck yeah. And you get it on your toes, and it happens when you're snows, right? So 50 minutes, you got a fat foot, you put it in a sock that kind of protects the skin, and you stick it in the ice for 50 minutes, and then you take your foot out. And then after 2 to 3 months, the excess fat that was around your fat foot, some of it will have emulsified and have been absorbed by the body. How does that sound? That's kind of, I mean, I'm making fun of it, but that's kind of what fat freezing is. It's a machine which pulls the tissue into these two metal clamps. And then once it's in that clamp, that tissue is cooled to just above freezing between those two clamps. And the tissue, the fatty cells, are destroyed by that cold energy, just as if they were frozen, but not the same as frostbite. And what happens is once 50 minutes has expired, then they release that vacuum device. And then what you're left with is something that they affectionately call a stick of butter. So you know what a stick of butter looks like, right?
Yeah, delicious.
Right. And it's also very soft and gooey, right?
Mm-hmm.
And it can, so imagine that taped to your stomach, a little bit on the right side of your belly button, and then another one on the left side of your belly button. That's what that procedure does. It pulls it into this like stick. And then you take then what they do is when they take the webbing off, which protects the skin from the burn, then they massage it in with oil and some massage, or they use a machine to kind of disperse that fluid out. And then you wait 3 months. You can get it sooner than that, but for most people, they recommend 14 weeks. And after that, which is 12 to 14 weeks. And after that point, you're pretty much done with the result from the fat freezing procedure. And what you hope to see is that some of the size, the bulge has been reduced. And it definitely does that in a very small way to a very select clientele. Okay.
What do you mean by to a select clientele?
Come on. Have you ever seen any cool sculpting pictures with like some big, heavy, obese people that did it?
No.
No, it can't work for them. There's too much. They have too much body. They have too much skin, too much. So it's not made for that. So the fat freezing procedure has a 25% body fat limit, which is, just at being overweight. So, get on the BMI, go online, calculate your age, your weight, your height, your gender, your level of exercise. It'll come up with your BMI number. If that BMI is over 25, most of these non-invasive procedures that destroy tissue are not good. You're not a good candidate for it. Let's just be realistic. Now, there is one, the Safe Sculpt, this thing which heats you all the way around like a belt. They say is okay for larger people over 30% body fat. But, just look at when a person is 30% overweight or obese, their whole body is 30%, not just their stomach. So when you just treat one area without looking at the other areas, they look kind of chopped. It doesn't look natural.
So you said it's the belt that goes around you?
It's like a belt.
Okay.
Yeah. And so what happens is, my experience has been that most people in the initial, when they read an ad about body sculpting or losing belly fat, in their mind, they say, oh, if I could just lay on my back and just suck this out, I'm done. I just want to, it's like this utopia. It's the utopian principle of people's ideas. If I could just suck it out and have it gone, I'll never have to worry about it again. Well, it really isn't that like that, And so what we found is that one of the niches at the Slim Body Laser Spa, I don't want to say niches, but one of our unique selling propositions of what we do there is not only can we treat people better than people with liposuction, better than the cool sculpting and all these non-invasive procedures, because we all do that. My lipo laser will get better results than those cool sculpting and those other procedures, hands down, every time, almost every time. And I would go head to head with anybody on that. But where they're making a mistake is they don't have the skills to help you with the food part. Why did you get to this point where your stomach was overwhelmed you and now it's not going down? How did it get to this point? It definitely has something to do with habits, people. It has something to do with lifestyle. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Right?
Of course.
You didn't just wake up one day and have this balloon in your belly.
Right.
All right. So if somebody could offer you to just get rid of the balloon in a day and not show you or help you why it happened in the first place, how beneficial is that? Is that really a sane way of looking at it? It would be like taking a kid who's hooked on opiates, put him in a treatment center, take him away, but don't teach him why he used it and don't help him with how it happened in the first place. You can't do that. You have to teach and train and regrow and help why it happened.
It's the old adage, give a man a fish, he'll eat for a day. Teach him how to fish, he'll eat for a lifetime.
Right. Well, we all know that to be true, but sometimes giving me food for the days is okay. Right.
Well,
I'm not going to say no if I'm starving,
but
then I want to learn how to fish afterwards. Right. So, so what we do at the Slim Body Laser Spa is we can sculpt and shrink and reduce the outer layer of belly fat, just like the cool sculpting and the liposuction and the Safe Sculpt and the radio frequency machines. They all kind of treat that same area. The difference in my office is we deal with food and weight and nutrition, and we have a program and a plan where not only do we help you with the outer compartment, which is that subcutaneous stubborn fat, but we help you with why the problem really came in the first place, which is understanding food, and it amazed me as a doctor who went to college for God knows 8 years, all kinds of testing and nutrition and wellness. I practiced for 20 years and really could not tell you 7-8 years ago, I could not tell you what the good diet would be. It was so confusing to me as a doctor.
What a healthy diet was.
Well, yeah. Well, should it be low carb or high carb? What about fat? Is fat good? Is fat bad? How much should I eat? Do I take supplement? And most people don't know. Even I think you know more than most people, Mike, because you hear me all the time. We're always on here talking about it. But most people do not know what to do anymore when it comes to food. So and here's another really important part about Slim Body Laser Spa. By the way, if you'd like a free consultation, we're having some incredibly my staff, they sit home and they send me these messages because they're sitting there waiting for some clients to come in. So we're having a really great special right now, and all you have to do is ask for it when you show up. Is if you sign up for the plan before January. Remember, New Year's is a big, everybody wants to lose weight kind of week. And then for that next month, and it's no different for us. We get really, really packed in the January, but leading into December, there's not a lot of people are interested in jumping on a weight loss program.
Right. People I want to quote unquote, enjoy the holidays.
Right. But remember, you want to strike when the iron's hot. So the day somebody comes right now, you might be thinking how much you'd like to lose that weight, but you want to wait till after Christmas. Well, if you come into the spa and you go through the consultation and we accept your case and we can do this, what we're doing right now, as soon as December 1st comes around, is we're gifting people almost a 2-week extra visits on top of the program. And this is only in December. So what that means is all of our programs are 9 sessions in 3 weeks. That's our program. You know that. You've been through the program. And that program is $2,800 for that program. Okay. That's $300 a session. It includes everything, the food, the planning, the results, the guarantee, 3 inches, 9 sessions, private room, measurements, pictures, the reputation and reliability of the machine, the proper application of all this. This is what we do for the 3 weeks. Now, what we're offering in December is if you prepay and start before January, you can have up to 2 weeks of visits, which is really 6 visits. So you could have 3 times a week in December, another 3 times a week right before Christmas. Enjoy Christmas, enjoy New Year's, overeat a bit, and then in January, you can begin your 9-session plan as if you were a brand new client.
That's awesome.
So this is a deal that only comes up in Christmas. We never do this before this. And this is something that changed our whole outlook on Christmas as an office. I went and we would have typically like no people in around December. It would really drop off. And, it was not a good thing because I believe that just because it's Christmas, people should still be losing weight and being healthier. So we did a workshop in Port St. Lucie. I did a lipolaser workshop where we did advertising, brought in about 20 people. And right at the end of the workshop, it was actually December, the first week of December. I offered that 2-week free on top of the normal plan. And 10 people signed up at that workshop as a result of that deal.
Oh, yeah.
And it was like, wow. And so we learned, and that was probably 4 years ago. So each year in Christmas time, if you come into the Slim Body Spa, and I know you're listening out there, I know you are, and I know you want to do this. They tell me all the time at the shows I'm at, how much they listen, how they want to do this. You'll never get a better opportunity than if you come in during this before December and you're interested in doing the plan. Number one, we have lots of openings. We're not that busy as far as consults go. You can spend time with me. Number 2 is there's that 2-week signing bonus on top of a normal plan, which expires, probably a week before Christmas. We can't offer that.
Right. Makes sense.
So please give us a call. I want to help you. I know you want to come in and sit down with Dr. Tread and chew the fat. Maybe leave us a little bit of your fatty liver behind.
Just a little bit.
Just a little bit. The duck livers get fat, right?
Yeah, absolutely.
So do people's livers.
Unfortunately.
Bummer. All right, you guys. I just want everyone to know how much I love and appreciate all of the listeners and all the people that support this show. And sometimes when I get up in the morning, I'm like, did I just do this last week, Mike?
You did do it last week.
I did. And didn't I do it the week before?
Yeah, did it the week before.
And didn't we have somebody call the week before? And
We
then
did.
500 times since then. And I'm so excited to get in here. I was like, I have all my stuff laid out. I've been thinking about it. I woke up like 3 in this morning and had to sit and go some stuff on the internet because I just want people to know. I want to be intelligent here on the radio and give you some good information. Okay, so we got another 10 minutes left. So this is, I'm going to call it Conspiracy Tuesday.
Conspiracy Tuesday. What's this going to be about?
So let's pick out the most common myth about eating and weight loss and weight gain that you can come. Now, I'm not preempted, Mike, with this. He's on that you think I could answer or share the truth on of something that they believe to be true. Yeah. So, and I have a few if you need something, but
so
tell me what you think.
I have to throw some myths.
Think of a myth about weight loss, how to lose weight, what you need to do to lose weight. That's just been not true.
I gotcha. All right. If I drink beer, I'm going to get a beer belly.
That's not a myth.
We literally talked about it last week.
How's that a myth? If you drink beer and you don't limit,
you spent a whole show talking about how
you
can
didn't
drink.
ask how much beer. You didn't ask when, how often. Beer doesn't make you fat, but lots of beer will give you a beer belly, Mike.
Okay.
I'm
going to go back, pull up the archive where you said you could drink alcohol as long as you take the calories into consideration.
Right. So you needed a little more information. So to answer, beer is going to give you a beer
I'll make
belly.
my softballs with a little bit more zip next time.
I'll give you one. There's a myth that cutting out all the fat out of your diet is essential for health and for losing weight and for heart disease. And they have proven that to be not true. Did you know that?
What is it?
Fat is your friend when it comes to weight loss and health.
That can't be true. We talk all the time about how fat kills you.
That's right. I didn't say the fat that you've gained. It's fat in your diet.
Okay.
It's the food that you eat. So let's talk about that because this is a myth. And people are looking for low-fat foods, low-fat this, low-fat that, no-fat calories. And what they're changing it with, they're replacing it with sugar, salt, and fat. That's what they're replacing fat with. They're replacing it with sugar. So something says trans-free, no trans fats, and it's full of sugar. Okay? Sugar is much worse than fat. If you were going to eat either calorie, sugar is much worse for you than fat. So what happens is, I guess it was back in the 60s. Well, it was more like the 50s. The U.S. government did some big research with the National Institutes of Health, the Heart Institute. And what they found out was that a diet low in saturated fat prevented heart disease, right? Low in saturated fat. Now, saturated fats are your animal fats.
Okay.
So
the stuff off the steak and
right. And so as a result of those studies, everything started to cut out fat out of the diet. Now that happened basically in the early 70s, 80s is when most of this, it didn't really take root until we were almost into the 90s where people started to really cut out the fat. And what happened is at the same time that they cut out the fat, obesity skyrocketed in America. I don't mean a little bit. I mean, we were 3 to 10% obese as a country until they took out all the fat and it replaced it with the high fructose corn syrup because they felt that fat was bad for you, the myth.
Mm-hmm.
And then the obesity just spiked and it has not gone down since. And the latest research, I don't want to say the latest, but all of it now is stating that it's not fat. Fat is a good nutrient. Too much of it, as anything, is a calorie problem.
Right.
So you can't have, 3,000 calories of fat and expect to lose weight. But fat is a substance which is really beneficial for weight loss because it's slow to digest by the body and the body gets an enormous amount of energy from a small amount of fat. So fat should be included in all of your diets and it should be good fats, people, not margarine, not fried foods. The bad fats and good fats. I don't have to lay it all out for you. I can tell you this. If you leave fat, which is liquid at room temperature, and it does not go bad, you can leave it out on the table for 2 weeks. It is not good fat. It's hydrogenated fat. It's fat made to not break down. That's not good. So you want fat that actually, if you left it out for 2 or 3 days, it becomes rancid. So, that would be your olive oils, your avocado oil, your coconut oils, grapeseed extract. There's a lot of good oils that are out there, but mainly also fish oils, salmon oils, and also fat that comes from range grass-fed beef and grass-fed chicken is very good. So people, do not be so scared of fat in your diet. It should be about 30% of your daily amount that you're eating. It's about 30% fat, 20 to 30% protein, and the rest should be a complex carbohydrate. So does that make sense? So the myth was that eating fat will make you fat, and
Correct.
the truth is eating fat makes you thin.
So
And it's also called the keto diet for those out there who are knowledgeable, but it's called the ketosis diet,
Okay.
ketogenic.
right.
When you eat more fat and less protein and more fat and less carbohydrate, your body uses ketones. It produces ketones. And when these ketones are produced, your body is burning fat to make ketones. So when you burn fat, you're lessening body fat percentages. And that's why it's so darn important. So that's
So-
the first myth. Give me another one, Mike. Now that
So-
you know what I'm talking about.
Load up on fats.
All right. I'll give you another myth since
Yeah.
this is
Or
my
give me a
profession.
list or something.
All right. So I lose weight by skipping meals. In other words, you gotta eat. No, let me change that. You have to eat less to lose weight, right?
Right.
So the way that I do it is I just skip meals
Right. Do it all at once.
haphazardly.
That doesn't seem
Whenever
like it's going to work.
whenever I think I can get through it, I'm going to skip a meal.
Okay.
Does that? And I was told that I can lose weight doing that.
All right. So
Is
that's
that a
the
truth
myth.
or is that a myth?
Well, I'm assuming that's a myth.
That's a myth. Yeah. Yeah. Well, they're all, remember, it's truth, but they're myths. So let's talk about that. All right. So listen to me. Okay. If your body, your metabolism, your ability to conserve calories and burn energy is given to you by your ancestors. And they've been around for a really long time on this planet. You have no idea how long your progeny goes back, and food and, getting calories and finding food was pretty much the number one most important feature of a human's daily activity was finding food. Do you agree with that?
Absolutely.
Before the grocery, it's still pretty important now, but nothing like it was years ago. So what happens is your body is expecting to not have food. And when you don't have food for any length of time, there's a whole nother system that takes over that protects the fat. It's a hormonal change. So when you stop eating regularly, if you have a regular, consistent meal and you eat every single day, every day, your hormone is a profile for that. If you start skipping meals or you don't go for 2 days, your body hormonally changes to protect the fatty stores and it starts relying on carbohydrate for energy because it doesn't want to give up the fat because it knows you might not be able to get any more food. So anytime you skip meals, what's happening is, and you're going more than 2 or 3 or 4 hours without eating, you're most likely burning muscle and stored energy, not fat. Okay, because that's what the body does. When you don't eat for 2 or 3 or 4 hours and your blood sugar starts to drop, you're going to eat. You're going to need calories, and your body goes to stored calories to replace those extra calories. It doesn't go to fat. Fat is utilized at the end of starvation. Fat is there to keep your brain and your heart functioning. That's it, for the most part, at the end of life. So that's a myth. Don't skip meals, people. If you want to eat, you got to eat regularly. If you want to lose weight, you got to eat regularly. That's very important. So you got to eat to lose weight. So that would be a myth that's been dispelled, right? They taught me that if I don't eat, I can lose weight. But now you're telling me I have to eat to lose weight, right? And I can tell you, you have to eat to lose weight. Everybody knows that. You can look it up online why that is. Call me on, give me some emails, slimbodylaserspot@gmail.com. We can talk about it more, but it's very true. So the way that you beat this thing is you don't eat all your calories at one time. You spread them out through the day. So you take that 1,800 calorie or 2,000 calories that you're allotted, your daily allowance, and you need to split it into either 3 equal meals or 5 equal meals. You got to split it up. Eat one portion at 8, 10, 12, 2, 4, and 6 p.m. Spread out those calories. You'll never get fat. Well, you're less likely to get fat. Hey, I'm available. I'm always available. Come on down. Let's chew the fat. Let's chew the truth. I'm down at the Slim Body Laser Spa. I'm located at 2311 Southeast Ocean Boulevard, right across from the Fresh Market on East Ocean Boulevard. It is called the Slim Body Laser Spa. It is laser assisted weight loss. And I'm using a FDA cleared device to release and to allow you to burn off the stubborn fat naturally in 9 sessions or 3 weeks. Our inch loss results are the same day and do not require any sacrifice of downtime. It does not involve any pain or swelling and can be utilized by all ages, right up to 95, 100 years old. If you're able to walk in, you can use the laser, or even if they have to wheel you in. We can help people lose unwanted fat and reduce waist sizes regardless of how much fat you got. It just takes more visits, people. Regardless of your so-called slow metabolism. You know, we have things to help you with your metabolism. Of course, with slow metabolism, you're going to gain weight. So we're going to help you with that. We specialize in those people who have failed at weight loss before, or those people who are eating good, exercising often, are not able to get results in specific pesky areas. Or maybe you have failed at weight loss because of injuries, accidents, taking care of loved ones. There's a lot of reasons why we let our health slip and our weight slip. And in 3 weeks, for some, you know, no more than 2 or 3 months for really large people, we can dramatically change your body fat percentages and how you look and how you feel. Just got to give us a call. Go online, slimbodylaserspa.com. Walk in, drive by, come on in, say you'd like to start with the office. We're here for you, man. Each case I see is specifically overseen by me. I do all my own consultations. I can handle many different people, whether you're diabetic, whether you have COPD, maybe you can't exercise because of spinal injury, stenosis, neuropathy, goes on and on. I can help you. I'll get you started. We'll get you on a better plan for weight loss and body sculpting. So give us a call, 1-844-DR-SLIM-BODY. Walk in. Take your bicycle, get your uncle to drive you, get your little sister to drive you if you need to. Come yourself. Remember, you get the 2 weeks, 6 sessions on top of the 9. If we approve you and you sign up for the care plan before January, you get that perk. It's a hugely beneficial for anybody. You know, once you get to the 9th session and you're losing inches, let me tell you, you want more. That's just the way it goes.
Absolutely. Yep.
Okay. So we're going to be here. Let me see. So we're as far as the holiday hours go, we're going to be open between Christmas and New Year's, just so you know that. We're only closing for Christmas and New Year's Day, the day before Eve and Eve before that. And we're good, right?
Yeah.
Am I out of time?
You've got about 30 seconds.
Okay. All right. I want to let Dixie and Max, my rescue dogs, know I'm coming home to let you out. I used to do that every show. They don't even come out of the cage unless I do that. I got the best dogs in the world and I got the best clients and I love Stuart, Florida. So just come on down, Slim Body Laser Spa, right across from the East Ocean Stuart Fresh Market there. Come on down, man. We can get that weight off, get you feeling better. And remember to take advantage of that free 6 visits all through the month of December. Thank you so much. Have a great day. Bye-bye.